Larry Bird's not walking through that door, fans. Kevin McHale's not walking through that door, and Robert Parrish is not walking through that door. And if you expect them to walk through the door, they're going to be gray and old.
All right, back in the basement again today. Going to bring you through another training day, a lower body day, but selecting exercises. I had some requests in the last video for this, so I'll bring you along. And a little bit of a throwback. Number one, because of the jersey, it's just older Larry Bird. But also, if you've been watching me for a long time, you guys know I used to predominantly only be in videos with a basketball jersey and a backwards hat. Headband today, but a little bit of a throwback vibe, channeling Larry Legend for today. Now, it's really interesting. So I've been running the Juggernaut program for a long time now, a couple of years in total, but I've never had what happened today. And that is week one on a new block, having to have my max effort top set on deadlifts. Usually this is like week 3, week 4. Week 1 was different for me. And I really wanted to put some effort into it. Now, obviously you should always be putting effort into your max effort sets. Max effort, spoiler alert. But for me, one of the things that I did going into this training cycle leading up to nationals is I was coming off that rough meet. I was kind of down in the dumps, wasn't feeling great, carrying a lot of fatigue, felt really beat up. One of the reasons I switched programming and switched coaches in that regard, I've covered that in another video. But in order to kind of get myself back on track, I set my maxes lower than what they were, even for my meet standards. So I set my squat at 550, my bench at 300, and my deadlift at 550 as well, just because, again, sub-max training, wanted to kind of build my stamina, my readiness, all that good stuff back up. And I think I've done a pretty good job of it so far. So today, Juggernaut suggested for my max effort 2-rep set, 525, just based off how things go, based off my pre-training survey, which I was been putting as, been feeling good, been getting good sleep, been getting good food. My body feels pretty good. Again, sub-max stuff. And it suggested a top set of 525 for 2, just because of the plate math and loading a little bit easier to just load up 535 based off of the plates that I use, which are predominantly 55-pound plates or what would be 25 kg reds in a competition. Went for 2, felt really good with 2. And because I traditionally sandbag my top sets, I decided to just bang out another couple of reps. So I ended up getting 4 reps, which is great for me. And in fact, they all moved really fast. They were moved as fast as my last warm-up set, but my grip started to go on that 4th rep. It started to slide. I think I probably had an even softer lockout than normal, but the bar speed was still really, really good. So if I had chalk or if I was wearing straps, I probably could have gotten more, but I still rated it as a 10. And as part of that, I updated my training max. Now, when I update my training max, I almost always go for the lowest number possible. Again, I just respond better to lighter work overall leading into meets, especially with deadlifts, which carry a lot of fatigue for me. I went with, I think, the lowest number here, which was 590, which is, again, 40 pounds more. So some of my training over the next couple of weeks is going to be a little bit heavier than normal, at least of what I've been used to going off of my old training max. But I'm feeling really good, really happy with how today went. Deadlifts for me have been a big mental game, especially at the last couple of meets. I feel like they just haven't shown up. So really some positive momentum going into the rest of today's training, which I'm about to do my back offsets, not going to show you, but I'll talk about some of the accessory work that I picked. All right, so what I did was change a little bit of the main exercise. So normally I don't do this, but it was asking me to do barbell hip thrust, which not really sold on as an exercise. I've probably been watching too many Dr. Mike Ishratel videos and not enough Brett Contreras videos, but I just don't like them and take a long time to set up and they're a pain in the ass to do, I guess literally and figuratively. So I switched that out for low box squats. This is something I've been doing the last 2 training blocks, and I love them for me, someone who has problems with depth, because I can set the box at the appropriate height and I know exactly where I need to go. In fact, I set it lower than I can probably normally go given my mobility, and it really forces me to stretch a little bit, and I think that it has good carryover to when I remove the box. So moving on to the other accessory work, so that was the main work. I am choosing right now to do, for my posterior chain, some back extensions. Now, normally I would go probably glute ham raises or something like that. But for me, someone who has lower back issues, as do most of us, right? I just never really spent a lot of time there. It's a weak movement for me. I can do it with body weight and still feel taxed. So I'm thinking that if I can improve that and add some resistance and load to it, I would probably strengthen my lower back even more, which is then going to carry over to my deadlifts and squats. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so back extensions are done. I have 2 other assistance exercises to choose from, one for quads and one for abs. Now for quads, I'm choosing to do a front foot elevated split squat. In the past, I've always done a lot of rear foot elevated split squats using like a roller on the rack. I've been liking the front elevated ones a lot as well, so I wanted to work those in, just using a couple inches up front, trying to get that deep stretch, which again, I think is going to help me not only with my quads, but also stretch out my hips a little bit, my calves, try to work on that range of motion for squats. So I think that's gonna have a good carryover. For ab work, I'm choosing to do hanging leg raises for a couple of reasons. Number one, it really helps me get that shoulder stretch. So my shoulder mobility isn't great, but just doing hangs on the regular has been something that's been helpful. I do it pre-workout as a warm-up as well, but just the more hanging I can do, I think the better it's going to be for my shoulders overall. And just I find that that's really taxing on my abs. Now for this, when I set it up, I like to keep the bench in the rack. I have my pull-up bar kind of pushed forward a little bit, and what that does is it kind of stops me from using more momentum than I'm already using, because typically I get lazy by the end of the workout. I just want to finish things off and I tend to swing more. So having that bench there at least stops my momentum just a little bit. Now, for this assistance work, you'll see most of it was relatively easy. Body weight style exercises are not really heavy weight. And the way I look at assistance is exactly that. It's to assist, kind of like a supplement is supplementing your diet. You shouldn't be getting all your protein and your carbs and your fats or your minerals through supplements. You should be getting it through your regular diet. And I tend to get most of my work done through my main compounds. The accessory work is there to help out, and hopefully I've done a good job explaining to you why I choose what I choose. Let me know any questions you have in the comment section below. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.